starting the recording now. Gonna try to live stream this.
Okay.
Okay, looks like we're up and the stream is live. Okay, so gonna be working on creating an FaceGen character for Genesis 8 male, and then also packaging it. I had a few epiphanies about how this might be a little bit easier to accomplish. So I'm gonna proceed with that right now. So we're going to be working from some photographs that my buddy um, sent me here, and as you can see, he's a dead ringer for Billy D. Williams, and we're going to be creating our own Billy D. Williams character for 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 that studio. So I'm going to start by conditioning these photos just a little bit. We don't need all the extra, so we're just going to go crop them real quick and kind of to like what they are. Just we don't need the neck and all that, for example. Um, I usually like to evaluate the left and right, and usually I'll just pick one of them. Like I think if you look at the lighting on this one, it's a whole lot more even than on this one, so we're just going to dispense with that one altogether and just flip this one when we're done conditioning it. And by conditioning, I just mean like doing some color correction. These are a little bit, Reggie, what did you take these with, a potato? They're a little bit low resolution.
The old camera, actually.
Yeah, no kidding. Always take it with the best camera you have. Uh, okay, so let's see here. Um, actually, it doesn't have to be square. It's just so first thing I'll do is just so it's not quite contrasty enough, so I'm gonna hit it with auto tone. Oh, much better. Just gonna save that
Yeah.
where it's at. So just gonna hit this one with an auto tone. Okay, cool. That's fine. And we'll close that, and then we should be done with Photoshop for a hot second. Okay. Now, to make it easier to distribute the product that you can end up with, I'm just going to put this in a other folder here for me. I'm just going to create one called Reggie, which will be Reggie H. How about that? And that way, if anybody else has a Reggie character, it won't be a problem. So I'm just going to copy. So inside of here, I know I'm going to want people. I know I'm going to want. Let's see here. I know that I'm going to want Genesis 8 male. I'll give it my brand folder, of course. And I'll put Reggie's character right here when we're done. I know we're going to need a runtime folder. We're going we're going to need a textures folder. And we're going to need a Disciple3D folder. And we're going to need a Reggie H folder. Alright, so we need to add that. We actually need to add Reggie H into our Dash Studio as well. So, actually, do that before I open FaceGen, by the way, so that it'll see it as a directory to distribute the data to. This should all be very familiar to you, Reggie, after we went over it, right?
Yes, definitely. especially from yesterday. We did it like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times in a row because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but you know what that was? You didn't unzip the zip files. You unzipped the master zip file, which had two files in it. And I thought I was kind of particular about that, and I guess you just misunderstood me. And I thought, well, surely he did that, and so I didn't think of that as a possible hangup. But anyway, so that's fine. We got that set up now. We can close Dev Studio out. It's actually better not to have Dev Studio open when you are creating your FaceGen file. So we can just get out of this. Okay. Now, we're going to go and create a new file. Sometimes I kind of get, here we go, photo, based on photo reference. By the way, once you use these photos, if you save the FG file, which I've made a character of Reggie before, and I did not save the FG file, but if you save the FG file, you don't have to have the photos. Although I did happen to have them in email, so no problem there. Oh, I did forget to do one thing. Let me just open that right back up with Photoshop. I needed to duplicate the left-facing image to make the right-facing image. We'll do that real quick.
Oh, so you're gonna give me perfect symmetry, huh?
Well, really, it's more about the nose and the shape of the face, which
Mm-hmm.
when you do it by hand, you're not going to ever be perfect with getting the angle exactly the same, unless you have somebody else in a tripod and your feet are kind of marked on a line, and nobody goes to that kind of trouble. So that's sort of the point
I
of doing
agree.
the deduplication. Not so much the individual. I think the algorithm does not even really use your actual photograph. It just uses a sample to generate your
Make
texture map. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So moving right along, things are rolling. I think we can do that. Cool. Now we can load this image, and we have the matching side image for that. And we'll go full screen for this. So that's the last character I created. Reggie, I think I'm going to give you an honorary character in the graphic novel remake of Respawner, since the one of the guys was like, it's if you watch really closely in the film, the gentleman that kind of comes up out of the shadows threatening with the rifle when Sweet Vicious is pulls out the double guns akimbo. In one shot, that is one individual, and then the next shot, which took place the next weekend, we couldn't get that lame guy back, and it's another guy. So I may replace that character with you in the graphic novel. So I'm definitely not going to attribute that asshat in any kind of render. So you might get
Well,
we got to give you a thug name. This guy's, for example, my friend Alan. His name is Thrasher in that, so I called the character Thrasher, right? Which at the time I was in the moment and I hadn't really wrote anything for it, and I was like, you're gonna be Thrasher, because people want to know what's my character called, right? And if they don't want to, they ain't trying to hear like disposable thug 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? They want to hear a character name.
okay, I actually have one, believe it or not.
What's your character name?
Broham.
Broham. That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
What's
they
going
call
on?
me the Freddy Krueger of the bad guys. If you're a bad guy and you do something really bad that's not even good for the bad guys, I'll come and get you.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. I mean, it was a bad neighborhood, but you have to have boundary, it's certain levels that you can't go beyond. Don't be selling drugs to kids or anything like that. I'll come after you, and I won't stop.
Well,
And they just,
this
you know,
char-
they got
this
real.
char- this character Thrasher was just basically a chop shop guy who worked for a crime kingpin, and he happened to be in the wrong place. Have you watched Respawner?
No,
Oh,
we're in.
dude.
You
Um,
said you're gonna send me a link.
I thought I had, but if I haven't, I will definitely rectify that. Okay. Use detail. Only use points from profile files. Use if lighting differs from front. Use detail from profile photos. Sometimes results in artifacts. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Whoa! There he is.
Oh wow, it is.
Now, I always really suggest that people take a second to look at their source files and kind of compare so that you can really be objective because it does a bit of a generic job with shaping the nose. Um, and
Yeah,
you have
pretty.
the ability to kind of like um, so I always look at the bridge. You have pretty much a remarkably straight bridge of the nose. You don't have any kind of a bump or recess there at all. So that pretty much is kind of the way your nose is.
Mm-hmm.
So comparing the two, I can see that you kind of have like a longer nostril here than you do here, and that your nose has a bit of a kind of a rounder
Right.
end. So
Yeah.
I can press control and say try to pull this a little bit and we get just ever so slightly closer, right? It's not perfect.
Yeah.
And then let's look at you from the front. And this is much wider than your actual nose is, so we're going to kind of do that a little bit. And just that little bit, you can see it starts to look more like you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, I think it's very symmetrical. Your nose is not, nobody's is actually. You look like you've been punched. You got a bit of a deviated septum right here. It looks like. I know I got hit in the elbow one time, and for about 3 months, I certainly had that.
Uh, and I warned that guy. I said, "Man, don't break my nose. Let's
Fighting,
have a good
fighting those drug dealers. um, so,
Lord." They
so cool.
can't
I can live with this. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, that looks like you basically. Okay,
yeah.
so now let's see. So we're gonna go next. What did I do? Wait a minute. What happened here? File. All right, now I'm gonna make sure that I don't run into this problem again. I'm gonna save. Uh, I'll just put you in the folder. Dadgummit. Why do I always do that? I'm slow to take my finger off that shift. So now I got it. Alright, so this is the important part as far as exporting it so I can send it to Reggie. I want all my stuff to be in one folder, right? So I am putting it. Oh, this is interesting. It did not add. It did not add that. I wonder why. I thought I had already added your folder. Oh crap. Let's see here. Alright, let's open up, see if we can rectify this, because I need that to show up in this program to be able to save you into the folder that I want to without having to manually pull all that stuff into. Obviously, it worked that way for the Thrasher character yesterday, and I don't know why it wouldn't here, but we'll double check that we saved the folder properly. So if we go to content and we close this out, and we go down here and we see Reggie H, there you are. Um, maybe it's just because there's no content. Let's try just putting a Genesis 8 there. Um, little bugs you always got to figure out here. Okay. Taking a hot second to write that, isn't it? Okay, so now that that's there, we got something in that folder. We're going to close this out once again. And Oh, I was going to try another thing, but I did not remember to do it. Let's see if it's in alphabetical order. It is not. But we've saved that, so that's fine. Um, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of some of the other libraries. There may be a maximum amount that's not letting it roll onto that page. So I want to make sure that's not the issue. So we can go remove base directory. Uh, remove base directory. Repo export. Yeah, definitely remove that. Okay, so there you are. Close that. I like how it keeps the last thing that you had up. That's pretty dope. So
Pretty nice.
now, yep,
Where do
that
you get that
that
at?
that was it. By the way, it will only allow so many libraries, so that's why it wasn't showing up. So anyway, I've selected that, which means it's now going to export into the correct data folder, into the correct library folder, so that I can just zip that up in theory. We're going to make some changes from what this sets up, so that's important to note. And I think there are other limitations about how deep your texture library can be, but anyway, we're going to export this for now.
Making me. Yeah, he's like,
What's that?
no, my boss, he came in. I told him, "You're making me." He was
Yeah,
like, "What?"
you got a little muffly there for a second. Here we go. All right, so I don't know if you've used this before, but you basically copying from it is difficult, so I just copy everything one time. It's a little buggy when you do that, and then I just paste it into this so that we're in great shape.
Okay, what did you just copy from? What was that?
I highlighted the contents right here so I didn't have to leave this up and look at it the whole
Oh,
time. Um, so it's just a little bit easier to work from that, and also it just allows me the freedom to just close this, free up the space. So one thing we're going to do to simplify this path before I set everything up, before I set the character up. Wait. It was other. Reggie H. Runtime. Textures. Disciple3D. Reggie H. That's where I want your textures to be. Here's where they actually are. Okay. This is just to do with packaging.
okay.
Um, but I'm going to set it up with these paths, not the ones that. Okay, so actually it's just. Let me do that. Dadgummit. I screwed that up, Royal. I screwed that up so royal. Here we go. Control C. Okay, boom. That's close enough right there. All right. So now we're ready to go load this. And as always, we will load in a default. Okay, yeah, we will use the basic so that we'll get the benefit of using some of the textures that Facetune doesn't create, like the teeth and the fingernails. Well, it does do the fingernails, but you don't have to use them. You can use the default ones. So that basically looks the same on everybody. So with that character Genesis 8 selected, we'll go in here, highlight Genesis 8, start typing in what we call our character. There he is. Boom. I always find that the full application of the morph looks a little bit off. Um, Like that's definitely in the direction, but like usually like a 95 or a 90 is a good. It softens the morph a little bit, and it just tends to look a little bit better. All right, so now this is from our export telling us how to set the textures up. I kind of know this more or less, but I'm going to use this path instead of the other path because I want it to reflect, my brand and whatnot. So with this highlighted, we can undo that. We can go to the Surfaces tab with Genesis 8 highlighted. It tells us to grab the ears, eye socket, face, and lips. So we go ears, eye socket, face, lips. We're just going to change the base color diffuse map, and we're going to paste this in. And there we go, face, face, boom. And the next thing, of course, is going to be iris's pupil sclera. Lots of times I won't use these generated eyes anyway, but we'll just try it for now. And not too bad. Lots of times it gets a lot of the eyelid kind of on the eyeball. Um, then I believe it's torso, arms, and legs individually speaking. Um, so if we go arms and fingernails, I like to add the fingernails in because the program makes them, but the instructions don't tell you to use them. It's crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
legs and toenails. Legs and toenails. Torso. Torso. Okay. Torso. Alright, now there's a thing that tells you optional for the cornea. Option to minimize cloudiness of the eyes. Turn off glossy layered weight for cornea. And maximize it for the iris pupil sclera. So iris pupil sclera. And we type glossy. Glossy layered weight. We want to maximize it for those. And for the cornea, we want to minimize it. And we'll give that a quick. Oh, you look so young, Billy D.
Yeah, I truly do. Kind of reminds me back when I went into the Navy. Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'll do is, since we got the basics of that, we'll go and just make a preset for the character in the Reggie H folder. We're recording as well. I didn't realize it had done that. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to create a thumbnail for you to make this look nice. And anytime you're making a thumbnail, you want to make it a 1:1 ratio. And I believe I used like 268 or something like that. Okay. Folder location. And I'm just going to render this thumbnail out for you so it looks nice.
Good.
Got to copy that. Rename that. And paste that in. Off. Okay.
Amazing.
Okay. And how much of this made it on the stream? Oh, it looks like it's back now.
Oh, cool.
Okay, that is going to. Alright, let's refresh this. Okay, now just as a test, let's delete Genesis 8 and let's load back in the generic um, Genesis 8. Let's even do the dev version just to see if it adds all those textures the way I think it will. Developer kit. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Bless you.
Day late and a dollar short, my man. Sneeze my brains out. Here we go. Apply this character to the selected figure. Bob's your uncle. That worked.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay, so now what we do is we go to Reggie H. We just browse the folder location. And really, all we have to do, I'm including the FG file, Reggie, if you ever want to create this. You just get FaceGen once you have it, and you can open it up and work on it and regenerate it. It might be convenient to extract it into another library or set it up new in another library. Who knows? So I'm just including that with you. If for some reason the textures don't work, you can open this. It'll show you where they are, and it tells you down here how to bind everything in the Surfaces tab.
Okay.
So here we go. Add to reggh.zip, and we'll go. Do you see my screen right now? This is how you get to the conversation window. Here we go. Open conversation. See that? And you can drag and drop files into that. So this will send that file to you, and it's only 9.25 megabytes. So you can download this file and unzip it. Now, I'm going to stop the stream right here because I know there's chances that you might do something wrong, but I know this will work, and I think we've proven that by adding it to another a blank character, so it works as expected. And
Okay.
we're going to call that the end of the lesson. So thanks everyone for watching, and hope you guys can have fun with FaceGen yourself sometime in the future, because it's an awesome program, as Reggie will attest.
Absolutely. Fantastic.